Hi, welcome to Ani Recapped. Today, I will explain a 2019 sci-fi mystery called Psychopath Sinners of the System Case 1, Crime and Punishment. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie opens in Tokyo and the year is 2117. There is a high-risk psychopath on the loose, and must be stopped immediately. The Public Security Bureau enforcers are summoned to apprehend the dangerous criminal. Then we see the enforcers talking about the criminal. It seems like that unknown person is driving fast straight into the direction of the bureau. The bureau officers set up a barrier and wait for the criminal. When the car arrives, it drives straight into the barrier, almost hitting one enforcer, but another one saves her. The car then crashes into a nearby building, and the officers encircle it. They command the suspect to exit the vehicle, and a young girl drops out. She calls for help, and shows them a memory cube, but it drops and breaks into pieces. At the bureau, the technician talks to two female inspectors about the suspect. She says how the suspect's memory cube has been destroyed beyond repair, and how she has weird brain activity, which makes everyone believe she has been drugged. Inspector Mika then says how she found out that the girl's name is Yasaka, and that she works as a psychiatrist in a sanctuary for latent criminals located in Aomori. Their chief then calls and requests an immediate meeting. The chief tells the inspectors how they must return Yasaka to the Aomori facility, and that they will there proceed with the investigation, which is quite unusual. They follow the orders and board the female criminal on a helicopter. Officer Mika escorts the young criminal together with Senior Inspector Ginoza and Inspector Kunizuka. On the chopper, one of them states how the sanctuary is an enclosed correctional facility for latent criminals. Things are different back there because criminals can move freely. There are no severe restrictions. They also work in mines, and the main goal is to rehabilitate them. Before they land, Yasaka snaps when she sees a cemetery on the screen, but she cannot speak fluently about it, like her brain jammed. When they arrive, they are greeted by the sanctuary's supervisor Kyoka and their team. They all go inside to check the surroundings and ask some questions, and the sanctuary chief of security called Rodion talks some rubbish to Ginoza, who ignores him. Supervisor Kyoka then brags about her facility, telling the enforcers how they manage everything perfectly and that their latent criminals are happy inside. Mika then wants to ask the patients some questions. She tries to speak with them, but they ignore her and answer some nonsense, saying only that they really like the place. Doctor stops them and sends them back to work, but Mika demands some answers. The doctor then threatens her that she must not interfere with the psychopath program, which makes Mika mad. She complains to Ginoza, and asks the supervisor to talk to more patients, but Kyoka only responds that it would interfere with the psychopath program. The enforcers then go back to Tokyo, where the technician tells them how they found out whose car Yasaka was driving. The man who owns the car is called Takeda, and he works for a pharmaceutical company, and produces experimental drugs that patients from the sanctuary use. It seems like he is a connection, so they check his place, but it is empty, he is nowhere to be found. They then receive a message and head back to the facility at once. Their fellow officer Kunizuka is arrested under the suspicion that she helped Yasaka escape. She claims she had nothing to do with it, but the supervisor and her team do not believe her, and they keep her in their custody. The Public Security Bureau officers cannot do a thing about it, since they have no jurisdiction in the facility. Mika has an idea, and tells the supervisor how Yasaka become a super high-risk criminal with a score of over 300, which gives the bureau officers the jurisdiction to search the area. She and Ginoza then enter their vehicle and go on a search for her. As they drive through the compound, Ginoza remembers how Yasaka wanted to say something when she saw a cemetery, so they locate it and go there immediately. They search it and locate Yasaka there, but she is not alone. A little boy is next to her, and it seems like she has been hiding him from the others. He gives away his memory cube, but it is encrypted, and the enforcers contact Kunizuka to send the files from the cube to their department. But Kunizuka is in trouble. Chief of the security and the fat doctor are drugging her. She let Yasaka escape because she knew her fellow officers would find her. Back at the cemetery, the facility staff is getting close on Mika and her friends. Mika decides to come out with Yasaka, while Ginoza stays hidden and eventually escapes with the boy. Mika then confronts a doctor surrounded by the brainwashed drugged patients. The doctor won't let them leave, so Yasaka uses smoke sticks to confuse the enemy. Ginoza takes the boy to safety and confronts the crazy doctor who finds them. He beats him and they continue on their way. As they sit to take a rest, the boy's cube suddenly comes alive, projecting the files on the nearby wall. Yasaka appears on the screen, exposing the horrible truth. It turns out that the boy is a son of Takeda who makes those drugs for the patients, and Takeda's wife was a patient in this facility. She came in pregnant, and since nobody cared about the baby boy, Yasaka took him under her custody and kept him from the evil that lures around the sanctuary. Supervisor Kyoka is using drugs to brainwash her patients. That way, she can control them with ease, and she can achieve collective thinking. She is basically manipulating them to work for her without asking questions. Dr. Yasaka found that out and told Takeda's wife about it, so they killed her. Yasaka was also ordered to drug the boy, but she secretly injected herself instead of him. That is why she can barely talk now. She went to Tokyo to tell Takeda about everything, but then he went missing too. She claims that Supervisor Kyoka is hiding something in the mines where patients work, and all of this is because of the mines. Mika meets with Ginoza and they form a plan. She says she will enter the mines and she needs Ginoza to make a distraction, and tells him to rescue Kunizuka. Meanwhile in Tokyo, the bureau officers find out that Takeda has been killed, and they find a very important suspect. His name is Akira, and he is a powerful energy problem expert. Somehow he is involved in the sanctuary, and he visited the bureau's chief before she made that decision to send Yasaka back to the sanctuary. The bureau officers decide to go to the sanctuary immediately. At the Aomori sanctuary, we see Mika entering the mines and Ginoza distracting the staff. He manages to free Kunizuka. At the same moment, a large enemy team is forming to hunt down Mika and the rest of the crew. Akira speaks on the phone with Kyoka and tells her to resolve everything at once. Mika is then seen walking through the mines and she trips and falls. At the bottom her gadget goes wild and it measures extremely high radiation levels. There are containers with radioactive waste all around her. Kyoka then appears with her brainwashed patients. She explains how she forced them to work in the mines and that it is their only purpose. She expresses how they are worthless and expendable, and that they can be replaced with other latent patients anytime. She then removes their visors and kills them to show off her power. On the surface, Kunizuka is restoring communications with Tokyo when Ginoza hears something. Suddenly a huge robot breaks through the wall. It is Rodion wearing a gigantic exoskeleton. He fights Ginoza and rips out his bionic arm. After an intense fight, Ginoza manages to destroy his exoskeleton and kill him by throwing him from a high ground. Meanwhile, Kyoka gathered all her patients and has Mika next to her in her captivity. She tells her patients how Mika came here to destroy order and bring chaos. She claims she wants to disrupt their psychopathes. But then Mika speaks and tells everyone the truth. She even shows them the video from the mines. As it turns out, she secretly recorded Kyoka when she was saying all those bad things about the patients, how they are nobody and that they are expendable. Yasaka then appears out of nowhere, and she throws a radioactive canister straight at Kyoka, who starts to run, because she knows it is game over for her. Mika then pulls out her gun and shoots Kyoka, who morphs and bursts into pieces. The patient's stress levels now go up and there is no one to control it. The whole place goes mad and Mika and her team must escape right now, or they might get killed by an angry mob. They escape to the helipad where their friends from Tokyo arrive at the right moment and take them from the sanctuary. Mika is then seen having a conversation with Akira, who is behind all of this. He tells her that this was simply necessary to prevent the bad things from coming to light. He describes how the compound will be sealed and the patients will be relocated. It is simply a higher power, so Mika cannot do anything about it. Before she leaves, she grabs Akira and slaps him. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.